What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we'll be talking about control flow. Let's get right into it. So control flow in programming is the order in which we execute a set of instructions or some processes. Uh, in today's video we're mainly going to be talking about if-else, so conditional statements. So when we talk about conditional statements, we're mainly just talking about decision making. So when we're talking about decision making, we're mainly talking about true and false. So if something's true, then we may want to execute this function or task, and if something is false, we may want to execute another function task. So to demonstrate this, let's just create a variable, and we'll call this a, and we're going to set a equal to true. True is a boolean, which is a data type. So a boolean is either true or false. So a is true. Okay. Now, this is what we call a conditional statement. So we're going to do if, so if a, so we have if a, so if one thing, in this case a variable, and now we also have our operators. So I'm going to say if a double equals true, I want to print, let's just print yay. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. So we're saying if the variable a, that's what this is, a, is equals. Notice it's not this equals. 1 equals is an assignment. So 1 equals is assignment. So like assigning a variable. This is a comparison. Okay? So 2 equals is a comparison. So saying if the value inside the variable a is equal to true, then we want to print yay. Okay? And now we're going to do an else statement. So else, so in other words, if a is not equal to true, then we print no. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. 1 equals, you're assigning something, like you're assigning a variable. 2 is a comparison. So if we run this, it prints yay here at the bottom of the screen. Okay, now you can see that if we set a equal to false, now this is not true. The value inside of a is not true anymore. So it's gonna evaluate this, it's gonna see that this is not true, and then it's gonna move to this else statement. So now it's printing no, because a is false, it's not true anymore. Now what happens if we do this? You can see that if we take away this if we assign it, it doesn't make sense anymore, because you're doing if a, you're basically assigning this variable, but you're putting it inside a conditional statement, so it doesn't really make sense. So just remember that 2 is a comparison, 1 is an assignment. Okay, now we could also do this, not equals. This is not equals. So 2 equal marks is equal, exclamation point equal mark is not equal. Okay, so we're saying if a is not equal to true, we're printing yay. So it's the reverse of what we just did. So now it's printing yay because a is not equal to true, it's false. And vice versa, if a equals true, then we're printing no, because a is equal to true. Okay? So now we have the basics of if else. We know about some operators, we know about equals to, not equals to. There are more operators. So this is just dealing with booleans. If I set a equals to 18, I set b equals to 15, Again, it's just a game of true and false. If A is less than B, we're going to print yay. If A is greater than or equal to B, it's going to print no. Okay? So A is not less than B, so it's printing no. A is 15, if they're both the same, still printing no because A is not less than B. And then finally, it's going to print yay because A is less than B. So this is true now. You can also do greater than. So if A is greater than B, which it is not, then it's going to print no. We also have less than or equal to. So it's going to print yay because 14 is less than 15. A is less than B. But it's also going to print yay, because it's greater than, less than or equal to. Okay? And then again, you can also do greater than or equal to. So the logical operators that we learned about, what's the best way to do this? This is a multi-line comment. We learned about equals. We learned about not equal to, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So these are the basic operators. You can get into more complex stuff, such as you can use arithmetics and conditional statements as well. But in this video, we're just covering these 6 basic operators. Yeah, the last thing we'll touch is elif. So we have if, we have else, but we also have something called elif, which stands for else if. Okay, so let's say we're dealing with grades. This is a common example. So normally in school, an A is a 90, right? And a B is an 80, C is a 70, and so on. Let's just do D equals 60. So if we wanted to compare grades, or we wanted to determine if someone got an A or not, or a B or whatever, we could do if we actually, okay, so I'm actually gonna, so we know that these are the grades, right? Let's just do grade, let's give them a 73. So let's say if grade is greater than or equal to, because remember A is a 90, A. So if grade is greater than or equal to A, we're going to print you got an A. Now, notice that if we do else here, it wouldn't really make sense, because if you got an 80, you can get an 80, you can get a 70, you can get B, C, D. So it wouldn't make sense to use else, because there's more than one other option. So that's why we use elif. So elif, like this, else if grade is greater than or equal to B. So if it's greater than or equal to 80, we want to print you got a B. So what does this say? If you got a 90 or above, you're going to get an A. Else if, so it's going to evaluate this. If this is not true, it's going to look at this. So now if you got an 80 or above, so if you got between an 80 or 90, this is the same thing as saying if grade is greater than or equal to 80 but less than 90, okay? So, and we can do the same thing, just keep going. Elif grade is greater than equal to C. So 70, we're going to print you got a C. Let's just do this for D as well. Hopefully it catches on to the pattern here. And now we can use this else statement. So because the last option is E or an F, we're going to print you got an F. So if you got a below a 60, you got an F. So let's try this. So right now it's a print you got ooh, I just realized that print you got an. Let's just change that really quickly. So if we run this, it should print you got a C, which it does. You got a C. Same thing, if you got a 93, it should print you got an A. You got an A. Yeah, that's wrong, but you got an A. And again, if we got a 30, then it's gonna print you got an F. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. This is all about decision making, control flow, the order in which we execute some steps. So this is an order. So it will look through this. If this is true, it won't look at these other statements. If it's false, it'll look at the next one, and it keeps doing that. So for this example, it's going to see that it's not greater than A, so it's going to move on to this one. Again, it's false, 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 and finally it's true. So that is control flow. Those are if, else if, and else statements. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And in the next video, we'll be talking about loops. So that is again involved in control flow. And I hope to see you on the next one. Take it easy.